Hey guys, recording this here on what is it, Friday the 19th. Maybe you're seeing this on Monday at the latest, but want to let you know we are almost sold out for Founder 500 in Austin, Texas, here in about a week. It's going to be an amazing event. 500 B2B SaaS founders. I'm looking at the attendee list. There's almost 60 founders with more than 6-7 million bucks in ARR. It's an incredible group. There's over 100, over 150 with more than a million revenue. It's an incredible group. You don't want to miss it. Grab your hotel, grab your flight, grab a ticket right now. I'll put the link in the bio, in the description here on YouTube. And I think there's only about 3 tickets left. Okay, about 3 tickets left. I'd love to see you guys there. Don't be bashful. Grab your ticket now. Hey folks, my guest today is Robert Corwin. He's got a wide array of data science experience in many industries. Today he's the co-founder of Austin Artificial Intelligence, a data science, machine learning, and AI joint venture which services clients in the technology, financial, and industrial sectors. Before this, he was co-founder at EVA Capital, a quant hedge fund, which traded long-short factor strategies in U.S. equities. All right, Rob, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. How'd you get out of the hedge fund space? Just sounds so cool and fun. Now you're sort of more in traditional SaaS, huh? But what made you walk away from the hedge fund world?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I started my own hedge fund, and we didn't raise enough capital to make it work. So that's I could spin it, but that's the honest answer. But what I realized at the time was that the same type of work I have been doing in quant finance for so long is now very prevalent outside the finance industry, right? So I would say finance and defense have been doing this kind of work for 20, 30 years. They're just kind of ahead of the game, those two industries. But the rest of the world is now finally catching on to data science, to quantitative analysis. And it's not to say they didn't do it before, but they're taking it a lot more seriously now. I think the younger generation is also taking it a lot more seriously. So I think there's a huge opportunity here. I think we're at the inflection point of this type of work. Computer power is definitely no longer a bottleneck, right? I mean, in Amazon Web Services, you can open a computer that, with a click of a button, that 20 years ago would have cost you a lot of money. So
yeah, there's people listening that are maybe thinking about opening their own hedge funds, right? What do you mean when you say you didn't raise enough money? How much do you have to raise to have a hedge fund?
So we had somewhere between 50 and 100 million, but that's not sufficient in a long. A minimum you need 500 million to a billion to make it a long-term business, a sustainable business. And so that's hard. It's kind of like the music industry or tech startups, right? For every huge success you hear of, there are many that don't make it for various reasons. And it was also easier 15 years ago, right? Anyone with a Bloomberg terminal could start a hedge fund 15 years ago, but it's a competitive place. It's a brutally competitive place, and markets are tougher, right? They're also no longer going straight up right now. So, I say go for it.
When you say 500 million plus, what you mean really is like for you to have the peace of mind to play a long-term game and make it through the dips and then celebrate the peaks. You've got to have that much capital behind you.
I mean that you need that much to pay your own bills. So that's not your money. That's a client's money. They're giving you 500 million to manage. From that, you will take a negotiated fee, right?
What did you take? Like 1 or 2%?
I won't disclose that, but it was typical hedge fund fees, typical hedge fund. And
so what you're arguing is the fee on 100 million is not big enough for you to cover just basic hedge fund expenses. You really need like 2% on 500 million to have enough admin, expense.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you can do the math. What percent of 100 million is $1 million. And so, but you're paying for a lot of databases and computers and employees, right? Are expensive in that industry. So, you need a substantial amount of AUM, assets under management.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay. Yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So enter Austin AI. So what's Austin AI do?
Yeah, so Austin AI is a data science, AI and ML services firm. And we have a real focus on practicality and getting real business results for our customers. So as you know, there's no plethora of AI frameworks and products, right, that purport to do X or Y. And I have nothing against those things, but oftentimes, right, these things are sold as panaceas where you just install this in your company, hit a button, and then it comes up with all these wonderful predictions, right? That's rarely the case, right? Because at the end of the day, the devil's really in the details of this stuff. There's no substitute for good experimental design. There's no substitute for good data engineering and good pipelines and good coding and all this kind of stuff. A lot of companies we've talked to have installed these, spent 7 figures or multiple 7 figures on these frameworks, and they do unify things and they add a layer of abstraction, so the whole company is kind of centralized. But they don't solve your data science problems at the end of the day by themselves, right? You still need data scientists. You still need very smart people running your analyses. And this is where we step in. We fill that gap. I like to say that we come in with a SWAT team, a data science pod, if you will, right? Of a mix of seniorities of people. And we're very empathetic to your business. What are your business goals? Where are you going to save time? Where are you going to save money? How can we help you do that? And we come in on a very efficient manner and just solve problems. We're problem
What does that mean when you say efficient? So if I'm going to get a data science pod from Austin AI that's maybe 4 or 5 people strong, what am I going to pay you per month for that on average?
So contact me for the exact pricing, but let me put it this way. What we tell clients is think of your data science problem. Think of how many data scientists you're going to need to go hire to do that. Go look up the market rate. Okay, now add taxes and now add benefits, and you'll come to a number, right? I can almost guarantee you that we will be significantly below that number, and faster in the way in which we operate. And that's due to our operational efficiency. And it's also due to the structure of the pod, right? May have one very senior person on it working only part-time, but they may be managing.
What is the structure? Like if you had to name the titles of the people and maybe like the last pod you deployed.
Sure. So a typical pod would be a senior data scientist working probably half-time, managing a mid-level data scientist and or engineer full-time, and then also 2 to 3 junior resources who are, a mix of engineers and data scientists, both in the US and abroad. We find that formula to be very effective and provided
those are full-time, the 2 to 3 juniors?
Yeah. Provided you have the right people. That the secret to all this is making sure you have the right people to make this work. Right. The team cannot have any bad players.
So how many folks are full-time at Austin AI today?
So in the US we have 5, I would say, full-time people dedicated to the effort. Abroad we have about the same. And then we also have, we actually took an investment from a big consulting firm in California, and they have opened up their resources to us. So we frequently use their resources and, or, for example, legal or things like payroll, things like that. Mm-hmm. So that has helped a lot in a lot of ways. But anyway, all that is to say, the number of people who are involved in this thing is more like 20, right? But there's really a core of 5 in the US, and then kind of, associated support staff. So
yeah, I mean, so is this really like a service model where you've got these folks abroad and you have to sort of spin them up or down based off what your client volume looks like?
We like to think of it as a package services model, so somewhere between pure services and product, right? So we don't like to just say services because that invokes ideas of, here's a guy hourly, or here's a fee to place you this person here. We also do that, by the way. So if anybody out there needs just staff augmentation, we can do that. But really our bread and butter is coming in and saying, with that pod, right, we have a packaged service that's been successful on a repeated basis. We have business processes in place. We actually have core code in a library that we will license to you as part of all this too. So we can just be really efficient when we come in with this pod. And it's more than just services, because we're really trying to solve your problem, right? We're trying to get to know the business. We have industry experts. If we don't have industry experts, we speak to them. So it's very empathetic to the business side of things.
How would I use you, right? So like we just raised $145 million, right? Which part was equity, but 135 million is effectively a debt fund. So we are lending off balance sheet. And so we've built our own credit scoring algorithm specific to B2B SaaS companies, right? I mean, what you're describing sounds fantastic, but the second you said like license me code, well, that's such a core part to what we do. That is IP that we would want to own, like 100%. How do you get around that?
Yeah, so the IP discussion with every client is different. When I say license you code, by the way, I meant give you a perpetual license for free for simple like utility functions. I don't mean.
Oh, okay.
Every IP discussion is different. The things that you need to be work for hire, right, which, as you know, is the term for you keeping the IP. Fine, but we'll let that be, and then we would ask in return that you give us the opportunity to work with, like other clients in the same, maybe not the same industry, but maybe. Other clients, right? We can't be prevented from never working with clients again. But all that is to say, the IP discussions are almost always, workable, right? So
yeah. What about look, going from hedge fund world to you're now, I think obviously what you're doing now is fine. You're learning a ton. You're getting exposure to a lot of clients and a lot of problems. But the most successful software founders that I've interviewed, I'm talking the ones doing, going from 0 to whatever, 100 million, 200 million in revenue fairly rapidly. They almost all start off as an agency, just like you're doing. And they get unique insights into multiple customers. And then they start seeing the same thing pop up and they go, we should build a SaaS tool for that. If I'm a betting man, I predict that's where you'll be in 5 years, but tell me I'm wrong.
So you are completely right. That is an age-old formula, right? That's been done since the people who advise me say that's been done for many, many years. Right now, we're focused on being a services firm with some product ideas in our back pocket, right? I don't mind being a services firm, Nathan. Right now, we're really comfortable. We're profitable. We're helping people. We're having fun. Every VC I talk to will say, "What's your product idea?" And I say, I have some, but I'm going to tell you in a few years, because it's good. Business is growing as it is. We're growing like a startup, a SaaS startup anyway, for the time being. I'm not naive enough to think that will continue. I know that there's limits to scaling a services business, but.
How many can you work with right now? How many customers actively?
7, yeah.
And is that your limit, you think, right now?
We're fortunate to have this partnership with our investor, as well as a really good hiring pipeline. So I think we could scale up very quickly for new customers. Yeah.
How did you convince? I mean, I don't know. It's you specifically have gone around sort of mentioning the names. So I'm assuming it's private information. But how did you convince an investor to write a check into this thing, which doesn't have the margins of a SaaS company, and doesn't look like it's an agency? Really, you rarely hear about sort of VC deals into an agency.
This was all about relationships. So I happen to know a VC here in town pretty well, and they knew this other company. They had invested in this company. It's called the Silicon Partners. We can put that out.
Okay.
There. And they're about a 400 to 500 person consulting firm, also growing super big. They wanted data science. They didn't have it. I had met the founder a bunch of times. We really get along. All really good people also, which sounds, I don't want to sound naive from a business perspective, but it really makes a difference if you can find people you like to work with, in my experience. And so it's just one big family. And so it's been really just, it's been good luck in a lot of sense that we all stumbled into this.
And what year did you do the deal with them?
That was just last year, 2021.
Oh, 2021. Okay. And are you able to share how much you raised from them?
So I won't share the exact details, but I will share that think of it more like an angel deal as opposed to Series A.
Okay.
It was a smallish amount for, a small percentage of the equity. But again, we didn't actually need to do it, right? It really wasn't about the money. It was about the relationships. We also serve as the data science unit of this company. And so they feed us business. We share business.
How many of the 7 customers you're working with today came from them?
About 2. Yeah.
There you go. There's good. That's a good reason to bring it on Angel.
Yeah.
And
so it was very strategic partnership, right? Strategic.
Yeah. I have to say this because today, you see angel rounds and they can just be, used to be, it's always, 100K to 500K, you're selling 15 to 20% of your business. And sometimes you see today, it's like this just silly angel deals. But I imagine you sort of did something standard. Under $1 million, you're selling 10 to 20% of the business and it's a great partner.
Something like that. Yeah, that's right.
Fair enough. Very cool. Okay. So any plans to raise,
by the way?
Huh?
Congrats on your fundraise, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, that was a different. We lend money, right? So we had a choice to make. Either we become a marketplace, or we pass founders off to other people with money to do the loan. But then that makes getting cash hard. It takes longer. We need our own money to get it out quicker. So we just said we got to go get this done.
Gotcha. Is like a revolving instrument or something? It's like a line.
Yeah, no. The way it works is it's a $135 million facility, which sits in a bankruptcy remote SPV, which FounderPath sells B2B SaaS loans into. We fund out of there. We put up 10% of participation capital ourselves, and we go it out. So we did that because it was a big bank that came in, Forbright Bank, and it drove our cost of capital down significantly, which means we could pass the savings off to B2B SaaS founders.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's fun. We're spending a lot of time now thinking about how do we get our underwriting algorithms working and humming faster and better.
We have done one of our clients. That's the project we have done it for. So if you want to talk after that,
we should definitely talk. That would be great.
Okay.
Is it also in SaaS lending, or was it like e-commerce lending or something?
This is actually so it's construction lending.
Oh, there you go. Okay. But I bet it looks, very similar. I've interviewed a couple companies like Bill.com that's come on that basically, that's not who you worked with, was it?
I won't say exactly who it was, but it was in that exact, yes.
Oh, so you know Bill though?
Yeah, I know Bill.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. He came on the show and I'm going, your numbers are what? That's insane. He was like selling software like as a marketplace model. I'm like, bro, your business in 5 years is going to be $1 billion lending product where you're making 10 points of spread. Yeah.
They've been one of the more successful players, I think, to my knowledge, in that industry.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Very cool. Okay, so I was going to ask you about product ideas, but you're keeping those close to the vest, so I'll stay away from that. Let me ask you a different question. Of the current SaaS players, sort of playing in your world and your space, who do you think is doing sort of the best job? Who are you most interested in?
I haven't really looked at the SaaS competitors, SaaS people as competitors in our place, because a lot of times we come into clients and they have these SaaS, again, frameworks or whatever you want to call it, and we augment them, right? So I don't know that there's at the moment the best direct competitors to us are things like Kung Fu AI here in town, and take a lot of other similar consulting firms of similar ilk, right? And of course, we also run into the big consulting firms like Accenture and Oliver Wyman have these units, right? We're just trying to kind of outrun them. So
see what happens. Cool. And hey, remind me again, what year did you launch the business?
Officially 2021. Yeah.
2021. And if people listening right now are going, man, I need these sorts of services, you sort of probably have a minimum. So just like, let's get your focus or get the filtering right in here. You mentioned earlier, take a 4-person, if you're going to hire them full time. Like my answer to that question for a 5-person pod with really good ML, AI, data science would be like, 150 to 250 grand a pop. So that's like $1 million deal. Are you basically saying, hey guys, if you don't have $1 million to spend on this stuff, don't call me?
No, we have deals smaller than that. I would say in the long run, it's probably going to make sense to do deals closer to that than smaller. But please call us. We do all kinds of things, as long as it's not like, I need 10 hours to do this Excel spreadsheet, or go make me a random forest model and spend 20 hours on it. Like, we can't do that kind of work. But if it's a legitimate project spanning, I would say at least 3 months plus, and you need, say, 2 resources on that, that's completely, we have those deals too. So,
And they've got, 50 to 200K worth of capital to put against the project, something like that.
yeah, something like that. You need to think of it at least like, at least comparable to hiring an employee, right? So if you were to hire an employee, you'd spend that much, right? And so realistically, we're going to come in below that, but it's not going to be it's not going to be 30 grand, it's got to be some number that makes sense.
Fair enough. Robert, good stuff here. Let's wrap up with the famous five. Number one, your favorite. Let's do your favorite sort of data science, machine learning, AI book.
Right now I'm reading Superintelligence by Nick Bostrom. So that's been pretty cool. That's philosophy as well. But I'm increasingly kind of reading less technical stuff and more philosophical stuff. But yeah.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Let's see. Think about that. I mean, I hate to give a generic answer like all the famous ones. Let's see. Who do I like quite a lot?
Yeah, maybe someone doing a really good work in AI machine learning space.
Yeah. Gosh, I hate to blank on this answer.
No, you're good. We can skip it. No worries. Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building Austin AI?
Online tool. I would say the grand collection of tools that are in AWS are pretty amazing, and that's a very generic answer again. But there's just so much there that there's just so many little services, and we're using so many of them, and it's so amazing compared to 10 years ago. Everything's changed. Deployment strategies, to some extent, ML workflows, although we do a lot of that ourselves. Scaling up and down for performance, things like that. So,
number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I try to get 7. So.
Okay, that's good. And situation, married, single, kids?
Married, 2 children here in Austin. 6th grade and 4th grade. Just as of today, 6th grade and 4th grade. So
that's amazing. I was looking at the pictures behind you. I'm going, he's got kiddos. And Robert, how old are you?
I'm 46.
46. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Something I wish I did when I was 20. Gosh, so probably. Okay, so off the top of my head, I actually I do a lot of water sports. So I wing foil and I windsurf. And so I wish I had started those a little bit earlier, just because I do. And the other thing I guess I would say from more of a career perspective, maybe become an entrepreneur a little bit sooner. To make a long story short, I kind of went sideways for a long run. And I think that in retrospect, I could have recognized that earlier and be like, hey, let's snap out of this and go do something drastic. And I think I would have been fine. Right? I think I was a little bit scared to do it before. I think it would have been fine.
Guys, AustinAI.io, he started cutting his teeth in the world by raising a, call it $50-100 million hedge fund and said, you know what, man, got to be much bigger than this to really survive this in terms of just the admin cost of actually just running a hedge fund. But he said, you know what, let me take this talent and launch a tool that can help brands, right? Maybe in the lending space, go from A to B easier. Data engineering, process automation, predictive models, explanatory models, et cetera. That's now what he's doing, working with about 7 customers, raised a small amount of equity from a great strategic partner out on the West Coast. He's now scaling nicely with his team of 5 here in Austin, Texas. Rob, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com youtube.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.